All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cafe Euro 2020. I'm joined here by Priyam, editor at SportsWiki, and Aditya Aluwalia. How are you guys doing today?
Good, good, Rose.
Good, Rosh, how are you?
Wonderful. Great. I was very overwhelmed with last night's matches, so let's talk about that. Our first encounter was Czech Republic versus Netherlands, and on the 54th minute of that match, Netherlands were already set with a man down. Delight was booked for a red card, and Czech Republic really punished them after that. 14 minutes later, the goal scoring had opened up by Holes. 68-minute goal for Czech Republic, 1-0. And a player who we talked about a lot yesterday, Schick, sealed the deal in that match by scoring a wonderful goal at the 80th minute. And the game ended 2-0. Czech Republic advanced from the round of 16. And for the big game of the night, Belgium versus Portugal, that was also a very interesting encounter. Unfortunately, the returning champs are now out of the Euro. They lost 1-0 thanks to Thorin Hazard's 42nd minute goal just before halftime. With that being said, Portugal did not go down without a fight. They had 23 shots, 23 attempts on goal, out of which 7 were on target. So they really tried to equalize, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen. So let's talk about tonight's encounters. First game, Croatia versus Spain. Both these teams last faced off during the 2018/19 UEFA National Champions League. This will be their third encounter in a major tournament. And if we talk about Spain, they did have quite a glory run from 2008 to 2012, winning 2 Euros and taking one World Cup home. That being said, with the most recent World Cup in 2018, Croatia had a wonderful run, and their star player, Luka Modric, Ballon d'Or winner, was awarded the best player. So this match will be played in the Parken Stadium in Denmark. Spain finished Group E. They just barely made it to the round of 16. They had a draw. This started off pretty slow, but the last game they're gonna come to this match pretty hot after beating Slovakia 5-0, whereas Croatia also struggled in their group, drawing a few games and losing to England. So let's. My first question is to Aditya. So we got the sad news that Ivan Perisic has tested positive for COVID-19. So how will this impact Croatia's lineup?
Yeah, so very interesting question, Rosh. So first thing that we need to know is Croatia played 4-3-3 against Czech Republic and against England. They lost against England and they drew. Sorry, they played 4-3-3 against Scotland and they played 4-3-3 against England, and they played a 4-2-3-1 against Czech Republic. So their 4-2-3-1 Czech Republic match was a draw where Perisic had scored, and in the 4-3-3 game against Scotland, when they triumphed 3-1, Perisic scored yet again. So obviously it's a big gap missing Perisic out. Personally, I think that Croatia will once again opt for the 4-3-3 formation, and they will start with Ante Rebic at the attacking position. He will take Perisic's position in all likelihood. Because he has scored 22 goals in the last 2 seasons for AC Milan in the Serie A. So he has a pretty decent track record, and I think that the onus will be high on the midfield trio of Brozovic, Modric, and Kovacic. So yeah, that's what I got to say regarding this, Rush.
I agree with that. Like, not having Perisic would be pretty impactful, but maybe their midfield trio can fill in that gap. And so, Priyam, Spain are level with Germany when it comes to Euro Championships, both being 3 times winners. What do you think Luis Enrique should do to make sure that they get their 4th trophy, and which player from Spain should we look out for?
See, if we look at the reality, it seems far away from reality that Spain will win this year's Euro title, because there are much more competitive teams in the tournament. There are much more better teams in the tournament. And that being said, is because of the reason that the team selection that took place prior to the Euros, because we saw that no Real Madrid player was selected in the Spanish national team for the Euros. And that was really a disappointing mess from Luis Enrique, and that completely reflected in the team's performance in the group stages. If you go and see, they played out a couple of draws and they just won the last game. With that being said, their main striker Alvaro Morata, he's just being backed by his coach, but his performances have not been that steady. So he needs to prove his might. When earlier Spain has won competitions, we've seen that their strikers have played a great role, and their defensive wall has also been very solid, which is not the case this time. So I believe that Spain has a very meager chance of winning this year's Euro title. But if they wish to, their star players need to step up, and the team selection also needs to, sort of take place in a healthy manner, because we've seen that Luis Enrique has managed FC Barcelona for quite a long stint, and that being said, that was one of the major reasons behind Real Madrid's players in exclusion from the Spanish national team. So when you talk about national teams, club football does not matter, and that should be the key for every manager who's managing or who's coaching a side. So team selection needs to be apt, I believe, for the Spanish national team as well.
Yes, Priyam. That being said, let's talk a bit more about team selection. Like, let's address the elephant in the room. How is Spanish defense without Sergio Ramos? Aditya, what do you like? What do you think about that? That there's no Sergio Ramos in Spain. He's the most loyal servant to his nation, and it was quite a shock to seeing him being dropped. So, what are your views on this?
Yeah, Rush, very rightly said. Sergio Ramos is actually one of my favorite, Madrid legends of all time, and it is pretty heartbreaking not to see him in the Spanish squad. And also find it also a little sad that Busquets and Jordi Alba are the only two players from the 2012 Euros who are there. And pretty interestingly, when Busquets came on to start the match, Spain won 5-0. So maybe that effect of having a Euro 2012 winner in the pitch really rubbed off on the youngsters there. As far as the defense goes, Rush, I think that Azpilicueta could keep Fernando Llorente out, as he will probably start as a right back. We could also see Pau Torres replacing Garcia to start alongside Aymeric Laporte. That's what I think that they can possibly strengthen. But having Aymeric Laporte, very notable Man City and French defender, coming to their side and scoring that goal last game and being a pretty solid defender, definitely is a plus for Spain. But I don't think any defender that I've seen in the last 7-8 years has, for me personally, lived up to the standards that Sergio Ramos lived up to. Definitely.
I totally agree. Not seeing that legend on the Spain lineup just feels so wrong. It's like when you think of Spain, you think, okay, Sergio Ramos in the defense. But yeah, it's shocking. It's sad reality. We must deal with it. Tonight at 12:30, the world champs will encounter Switzerland, and that's our second match for today. So France have been unbeaten in their last 7 encounters against Switzerland, and this will be the fifth time they'll be meeting in a major competition. And the match will be played in Budapest National Arena. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, the world champs have not been living up to their mark. They drew 2 matches in their group stages and very slimly beat Germany. Not to mention that they did not score that night. It was an own goal. So, what do you guys think of this French lineup so far? Priya, any views?
Yeah, of course. See, what we've seen with France over the last 2-3 years is the rise of Kylian Mbappe. I mean, he's been absolutely terrific with the ball at his feet. And since Karim Benzema has now dropped into the squad, we've seen that Karim Benzema plays that center striker role. And this means that Kylian has to drop in to the wings. And that has been one of the major reasons behind France not, striking that many goals that we've seen in the last couple of years. I believe Kylian Mbappe was one of the key members of the squad when they won the 2018 World Cup, and his performance in this year's Euro has also gone down if we talk about individual performances. But that is majorly because Karim Benzema has slotted into this side, and Olivier Giroud has also been doing very well for the French national team. But sadly, since Benzema has been doing well in club football, he has been prioritized over Giroud. So what I believe is that today, if France wants to go into the quarterfinal, obviously they are the heavyweights going into this competition. But yesterday we saw one very major upset when the Czech Republic beat the Netherlands, and today also that can happen with Switzerland and France. So if they want to win this game, I believe Karim Benzema's role will be very crucial for the side, because Kylian Mbappe has been forced to make a shift. He has been forced to go to the wings, and he'll do his work. He'll If he gets those balls, he'll just dribble past defenders and he'll supply those crosses. But what eventually needs to be done is finishing. So I believe that Karim Benzema's role is absolutely important for the team, and so should be Hugo Lloris's role as well. We try and less emphasize on the goalkeepers or the defenders, but their importance in a game is certainly very much important for any team. So Hugo Lloris has been one of the pillars behind France's success in the last 5 to 6 years, and today his presence will also make a huge difference for the national side. So Hugo Lloris and Karim Benzema, these two players play outstandingly well for France. I believe they have a solid chance of going into the quarterfinals tonight.
I completely agree. If we see Mbappe and Benzema playing their A game, it could be a complete dominance of France. But yeah, we can't rule Switzerland out. You just mentioned that, yeah, France are the heavyweight, but after last night's match, I think anything can happen. And if you look at Switzerland, Vladimir Petrovic has had good fortune where most of his side has not witnessed any injuries. That means his lineup will be really dense. So, Addy, who do you think Vladimir Petrovic will deploy to beat this mighty France side?
So very good question, Rosh, and I was I was hoping that you would ask me about Switzerland. So although Portugal is out of the tournament, I have still kept Ronaldo's quote here saying dreams can be reality, and that's something that Switzerland would be hoping for today. They definitely need to pick up some inspiration from their 3-1 triumph in the group stage match. We saw Seferovic gave an opening goal, and Xherdan Shaqiri scored a couple of goals that game, becoming the highest scorer for his country in major tournaments. And if he scores another one today, he will become the top highest scorer across all major tournaments. And not to forget Stephen Zuber, who was involved in the build-up of all 3 goals scored by Switzerland that day. Emphasis will also be on Xhaka, the captain, who said that he will give his 120%. So all we can hope from Switzerland is that they go out there, they play good football, they take inspiration from their last victory, and they just chase excellence on the field. And just a few updates. I think Remo Fuller will keep Zakaria out of the team and will probably start. And the confusion for manager Petkovic will be whether to start Mbabu or Sylvain Widmer on the right-hand side of the pitch. So yeah, I think that would be my talk on Switzerland.
I love how you opened with dreams can become realities, because in this Euro 2020 it seems like anything can happen. And Addy, you just discussed about Switzerland, and Priyam, you just discussed about France. So my question to you, Priyam, is would you like to add any keys to victory, like anything you think you want to see out of the French side for them to take this win against Switzerland?
Absolutely. I believe that for France to succeed, their midfielders need to play a very crucial role. And in that, if I have to be specific, I am heavily banking on Paul Pogba and N'Golo Kante, because these guys have been phenomenal with the French side. These guys have been phenomenal for their club. And a major pillar behind Chelsea winning the UEFA Champions League this year has been N'Golo Kante. I mean, he was absolutely at his best in the knockout games, especially in the semi-final and in the final fixture where he won the Man of the Match awards. In this year's Euro as well, I've got some statistics with me. So N'Golo Kante has had a 92% pass accuracy, and that in itself shows how key a figure he is to the French national team. And he had 18 tackles on top of them, and he's also recovered 14 balls. So that goes on to show in attack and in defense how crucial a figure N'Golo Kante can be for the French national team. And as far as Paul Pogba is concerned, yes, his passing accuracy in this year's Euro has dropped. But then again, he's played out 7 tackles and he's also recovered 7 balls. So that goes on to show that Paul Pogba's efficiency on the field is very much important for this French national side to win. Also, Paul Pogba's vision and his goal scoring range, I believe he can score anywhere from the pitch, and he can produce those long balls which are sort of required to break the mantle of the opposition, because we saw that with David Beckham maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when he used to supply that long balls while playing for Manchester United and Real Madrid with such accuracy. And Paul Pogba has truly inherited that role for the French national team and in Manchester United as well. So today his long balls will be very crucial, and so will be N'Golo Kante's run in the attack and in defense as well.
I love the analogy between Pogba and Beckham. It's both United stars. That's just wonderful. And I must agree with you. Against Germany, Kante was looking very dangerous. So if he's playing his A game, I think it'll be really hard for Switzerland to get past that midfield. And Addy, any short key pointers you want to give for Switzerland? What are their keys to victory tonight?
I think obviously their keys to victory lie with the 4 players that I aforementioned: Seferovic, Shaqiri, Zubair, and Xhaka. However, I would also like to see Mbolo, try to make more contributions up front. And Rush, I know you asked me about Switzerland, but there have been some concerns for France. Speedster and skillster Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona has been ruled out for France for the rest of the tournament. Digne, Thuram and Koundé will miss out the game today, and Deschamps, the French boss, will hope to recover Lucas Hernandez, so he's not faced to play someone like Rabiot or Dubai as a desperate left wing back. So I thought I would tell the viewers about that as well.
Wonderful. So let's conclude this show with the most difficult question: France versus Switzerland, first blood predictions. Priyam, what are your? Who do you think will draw first blood tonight?
See, if I were to tell my opinion about that, I believe Karim Benzema could be that guy, because we've seen his form in the recent season with Real Madrid. Although Real Madrid did not win any title this year, but his goal scoring form was absolutely heroic for the Los Blancos, and I have no doubt that he can be a poacher in the box. So I believe that if France are playing their attacking game tonight, Karim Benzema could be that choice also. We saw how Thorgan Hazard hit that ball yesterday. So I believe Paul Pogba also has that same sort of efficiency of hitting the ball from outside the box. So I am heavily banking on Paul Pogba and Karim Benzema as my choices for the first blood draw tonight.
Wonderful choices. We did see Karim Benzema's goal-scoring abilities against Portugal. And Addy, I want to hear your first blood predictions for Spain versus Switzerland.
Spain versus Switzerland or France versus Switzerland?
For Spain versus Croatia, I apologize.
So for Spain versus Croatia, I think that I'm going to go for a little unconventional option. I think that Spanish striker Morata will draw first blood. He missed a penalty the game against Slovakia and did not find his shooting boots, as Priyam very rightly pointed out, despite having full support from Luis Enrique. So I think it's time for him to step up, and it's a new stage for him and a new stage for Spain. And I think that he will probably be clinical tonight.
Absolutely. If there's any time he needs to shine, it's right now. Loser, it's the round of 16 now, knockout time, do or die. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me tonight for the show and giving your wonderful inputs. I look very forward to covering tomorrow's matches as well as enjoying the football tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.